Michael Grant put out a tweet on his Twitter page talking about the Animorphs movie. He says, #Animorphs movie, here are visuals I want to see released. Now, before we go into this list, this is the Animorphs YouTube channel. My name is Adam. You can call me Thomas, because Thomas is my middle name, which for some reason I use. I'm a fanfiction artist. There's my fanfiction. The link to read those is in the description. I run the Animorphs Discord. We have 320 plus members, a lot of them still active, and we're growing busier by the day. Please come talk to us. And finally, I have my own Twitter page. That is linked below. I put up Animorphs stuff here and there. Let's crack on with this video. Michael Grant is going to be, as far as I know, an advisor for the Animorphs movie, which means he's going to have his lips against the ears, hopefully not spitting yerks, of these producers, telling them, I want this, I want this, I want that. So, we have to take Michael Grant's tweets with some level of authority, not only because he's the author, but because he might have substantial sway when it comes to making the movie. He's just put out a list of 7 things, or visuals as he puts them, that he wants to see realised. Now remember, wants to see realised. He's just an advisor. This does not mean that these things are going to happen. Maybe he thinks that he will get these things to happen, but at the moment all we can say is this is what Michael wants. This may be what he wants to push for. Does not mean we'll get it. And there are a couple of interesting ones in here which we'll get into. Right, number 1. Hork with those hawk eyes in a stoop, ground rushing up. Now, he's mentioned this before, and I've got to admit, I've pictured this in my head, this image of just the ground zooming towards you and swooping up at the ground level, and the image of that is fantastic. That's got to go in an advert. I think that's definitely going to happen because he's mentioned it before. That, I'm 97% sure we will see. We will see from a Hawk vision going. Number 2, Hork-Bajir versus Jake/Tiger. Now, this is something that I believe happened in book 1, The Invasion. I've rearranged now, so I have to keep the pointer up there now. And again, I believe this is something we'll see. This is going to be where the action comes into the movie. The Yerk Pool scene, I believe. I mean, I could be wrong. But I have no doubt that we will see Jake in his Tiger Morph fighting against a Hork-Bajir. Number 3, Rachel in full Berserker bear mode. Pretty similar to the last one. We're going to see Rachel going mad. When did Rachel morph bear? Because I seem to recall that she was an elephant in book 1. Will we see that change? I know that Rachel was a bear by the time book 7 came along. I can't remember where she actually acquired the bear morph, but that's one of those things that maybe they're going to change. It would still be quite fun to see. Now, the thing that worries me personally, so I'm hitting the microphone, as you may have seen from... Oh wait, am I going to do this video after that one or before? I don't know. I'm doing a video on the Hork-Bajir. Now, I will explain in that video how much I love the Hork-Bajir. I'll do myself no favours, really. I like them to the point where I get upset when I read about one, you know, getting attacked and killed or maimed or whatever. So I know what's going to happen. I'm going to sit in this movie theatre and this action scene of Rachel or Jake against the Hork-Bajir is going to come up, and I'll just be sat there like, oh, why did you do this? But, you know, that's Animorphs. I need to fucking grow a pair, but... I don't know. I can't help that. So I look at those two and I think, oh, I'm going to be upset at some point during this movie because I like the Hork-Bajir too much. But that's Animorphs, and, you know, that's what happens in Animorphs, and that's war. So, yeah, I need to grow a pair. Behave. I do hope the Hork-Bajir get their fair share of just screen time, by the way. I do love the Hork-Bajir. And I hope eventually we get Jara, Hammy and Ket Halpak, and I hope they have a bit of banter. But that's not going to happen in this movie, I'm pretty sure. In the near future, maybe. Right, I'm getting carried away. Morphing to a cockroach is number 4. Cockroaches, I don't believe, are a thing till book 6, so I think he might be jumping the gun there. That's the thing, that a lot of this stuff aren't in the first book. And I think we'll mostly be concentrating on the first book. So I get the feeling that Michael wants to compile a bunch of storylines. And we've had a poll on that, by the way. I'm yet to do that video to look at that. But what we have to also remember is that a couple of years ago, Michael Grant was part of the Christmas quiz. The Christmas quiz is on this channel, by the way. Go look it up. It was quite fun. Michael Grant came last. His Animorphs knowledge is not great. At least it wasn't then. So we also have to take in mind that he probably doesn't have all the books memorised. And he isn't thinking about, oh, what's in book 1 when he's writing down these. So, which brings me on to the next one. Number 5, the world through dragonfly eyes. When did the Animorphs morph dragonfly? Did they ever morph dragonfly? No, I'm being serious. If they have, please put it in the comments, because I can't remember a time when they morphed dragonflies. I think I don't know why dragonfly specifically. This is the most confusing one of the 7 points he's put up. The next one, number 6, Axe. Just that, Axe. Michael Grant wants to see Axe. Now, this is the biggest point, I feel, because this was probably going to be the biggest point of contention, because Axe, of course, doesn't come until book 4 in the series. I think there would be a problem if we tried to force the plot of book 4 into the Animorphs movie. Put it this way. These kids walk into a construction site, Andalite comes flying down, bang, they've seen an Andalite. What's the movie going to try to do? 2 days later, somehow, they get messages from an entirely different Andalite. It just seems too coincidental and too convenient. I personally think that would ruin my immersion. I had a thought this morning in the shower where I have all my good ideas. But seriously, all my good thoughts come in the shower. Why don't we change it? Eliminate the book 4 plot. Axe arrives with Elfangor. Hear me out. Yes, it would be contentious because that is a massive change to the plot. But it gives us a tuition figure. A lot of stories do that, where it makes it easier for them to learn the roles because there's someone there to say this is how it works. It saves time, saves plot, and just makes things that little bit easier. When they crash land, Elfangor is brutally injured, Axe is fine. Axe is saying, help us, humans, whatever. Not like that, obviously. But Elfangor says, it's too late for me, go hide with those humans, save yourself. So Axe reluctantly says, come on humans, let's get out of the way before Visser 3 arrives. And then we take the story from there. It could work. It could really work. It would be difficult, though, for Animorphs fans who've grown up with this scene for so long. It's got to be the most well-known Animorphs scene. The scene where they see Elfangor. I can't think of a scene that's more famous amongst the Animorphs fans than that scene. So to change that so drastically is probably a big risk. But maybe Michael's got something else in mind. I don't know. But that's probably the biggest point of contention at the moment. And number 7, Sightless Morphs. I know what he's trying to go for here. Black screen in the theatre. Almost like the 3D sounds of just things rustling and like leaves scattering and that sort of thing. Where you're not looking at anything, it's just a hearing sense thing. Yeah, smart idea. And it could make for some great movie. It could also be done drastically wrong. Let's hope they get it right. But that's something that I know Michael Grant probably isn't a film producer, so maybe he brings this idea to a producer and say, nah, it's not going to work. It could happen. So those are Michael's 7 points. Now I'm going to go through some of the comments on this because some other people have had some ideas of their own. Let's see what we've got. Sanson Carrasco. Now Sanson Carrasco and I, our first interaction, I believe, was a rather heated debate. But the thing I like about Sanson Carrasco is that debate ended and it was civil, and then we got on fine afterwards. It's one of these people that these rare people that you can disagree with on the internet, and then it's fine. I think it's a very admirable quality. So I like Sanson Carrasco, and they say, Taxon's just going to town on something. I've talked to before about Taxons. I'm 50-50 on whether we get Taxons or not. Because what Sanson's trying to get across here is that, I think later on, or somebody else says it. No, Andrew Hart says it. Taxons are terrifying in my memory, or so terrifying in my memory, that I know no movie can make them scarier. Depending on demographic, do we want Taxons in this movie as visually represented in CGI? That's going to be freaky. That's going to be very freaky. And it's got to be done right. And it could turn out to be quite traumatizing. Again, I go back to, because I know who's going to be the victim of a Taxon attack. It's going to be a Hork-Bajir, and I'll be sitting in the movie theatre crying, why you have to do this? It's going to be traumatic. To see Taxons going to town on something. It's going to be a big ask, and that's assuming we even get Taxons to start with. It could be done. It could. Tobias Mason Park says Rachel bearing a controller with a severed... I think that means beating. Rachel beating a controller with a severed... For God's sake, speak properly. Beating a controller with a severed... Dwayne! Stop me! Speak to the hand. Rachel beating a controller with a severed bear arm. Possibly. I know that came in a later book, but obviously Michael wants a bear in the movie, so if he does that, he might as well go ahead and do that. Pack some of the best stuff into the first movie so that, you know, better chance of us getting the next movie. So yeah, happy with that. Even though I'll still be in tears because poor bloody Hork-Bajir, save them. US Dutch Kitty says the termite mound from The Secret. At this point, we'd be just chucking everything into the film, and I think it would just be a mess. I don't think we're going to get a termite mound. Maybe in the next film, or the next series, whatever we get afterwards. Hopefully, we get something afterwards. Chris Townsend says, Yerk Pool. Jake points of view as he morphs, the screaming, crying, and horror. A heartbeat slowly morphing and changing as the visuals and sounds suddenly come into an even more horrifyingly sharp focus as the tiger senses kick in, then roar. Yeah, the Yerk-Pool stuff. I hope they do the Yerk-Pool justice as well. It'll be another horror factor. This is going to be a full-blown horror film if we get it the way it should be. Just a dense cavern of caged people in Hork-Bajir screaming and crying and begging for death is what I picture. It's going to be a rated 15 at the very least, I think. But the idea, yeah, of maybe coming out of another morph with lesser hearing, and it slowly increases. Maybe that's where maybe we get the Sightless morph there as well. So we're not hearing anything. We're hearing this cavern approach, just muffled sounds at first, something you can't even comprehend or hear properly. And then someone whispers, or why would you whisper in TalkSpeak? Just says, right, it's time to demorph. And then you start to hear the bone crackling sound of demorph and all that, but you also hear in the background the screams and the howls just become clearer and clearer until it's just deafening. And then you open your eyes. That could work. Just saying, Michael. I'm just saying, Michael. You tell him, Dwayne. Cookie Metal says, I hope they can capture the anxiety of morphing into animal for the first time and having to cope with both human thoughts and animal instinct fighting for control. Now, that's going to be incredibly difficult. The director's got a bit of a job on to get that right. The double mind thing. Without it just being their thought saying, oh no, I'm fucking a rat. And the other half saying, where's the cheese? Fucking, I don't know, I can't do comedy. You know what I'm saying though. Tyrant says the ant attack from book 5 Same with the termite thing. We're just going to have too many things in this one film. Save it for a sequel. Who knows? Visser 3 eating Alfangor. Let's face it, if we're going to get bloody, like, Hork-Bajir and Tiger dismemberments, Taxons eating things, we're probably going to get Alfangor getting eaten in detail. More trauma! Have some more! Trauma! Have it. Everyone's gonna be a wreck after this. And then iTyrant says Taxon eating itself. We're a sick community. We are sick people. Well, you are. I'm nice and gentle and loving. That's why Hork-Bajir are my favourite. You all like Andalites, you genocidal freaks. Isn't that right, Dwayne? Smith, E.S. Smith, the author, says a fly morph would be great. I'm getting a theme here. People want to see invertebrate morphs. So let's cram them all into one idea. Morph into some form of invertebrate. Because everybody wants to see that. Probably because of the multi-screen idea, which should be wacky. I approve. Let's do it. Let's get it done. And that pretty much wraps it up. That's Michael Grant's post and the subsequent replies. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Those are my thoughts. And I'll be back soon to do another video on this, that and the other. This has been the Animorphs YouTube channel. Remember to join the Discord. Go read my fanfics. Those ones. And follow me on Twitter where I'll post random Animorphs things here or there. Ta-ra.